AI can help your team write code faster. It can also help your team make the wrong decisions faster. Look, I get it. In boardrooms everywhere, there's a mad dash to adopt AI. Right now, many engineering teams are being told to adopt AI before anyone has clearly decided what the tool is used for. It's seen as the ultimate advantage, the key to efficiency, the next big thing. But this rush has created a huge blind spot. Leaders are so focused on what AI can do for them that they have completely forgotten to ask how. How do we use it safely? How do we manage it? How do we build it on a foundation that isn't already a total mess? And I think that is what many engineering leaders are missing right now. From years of building software and reviewing production changes, I have learned that the hard part is rarely writing the first version. It is deciding what belongs in the system and what the team is prepared to maintain. That is why your team needs a golden path. And that is what this video is about. Let's discuss AI-assisted software delivery inside product and engineering teams and how the lack of a clear defined path can lead to chaos and inefficiency. DORA's 2025 research describes AI as an amplifier of an organization's existing strengths and weaknesses. In engineering terms, faster generation does not remove the need for direction, it increases it. The real risk is not that your developers are using AI, they should be using it. The risk is allowing access to AI to quietly become permission to redesign your system with one prompt at a time. Because when your team has no clear product decision, no agreed system boundaries, and no supported way to implement changes, AI does not fix that confusion. It turns the confusion into code. If you point AI at a company that's already well run and organized, the results can be amazing. But when you point it at a company that's already dealing with chaos, with all their disconnected data, broken workflows, and no clear ownership, it doesn't fix the problem. It accelerates them. It puts your existing dysfunction on steroids, and it's only a matter of time before it all blows up. We are seeing a massive gap between what companies want to achieve and what their technical reality can support. According to current research and studies from sources like the RAND Corporation and some analysis from MIT, the vast majority of these expensive, high-profile AI projects and pilots are failing. But they aren't failing because the technology is bad. They're failing because companies are trying to build a skyscraper on a swamp. They are aiming incredibly powerful tools at a business that is fundamentally unprepared. The core mistake is thinking AI is a magic wand. It's not. It's an engine, and right now, most companies have strapped that engine to a car that has no steering wheel, no brakes, and no wheels. So the car is just moving in different directions. The order from the top is just go faster, just go and build. But going faster isn't the same as getting better. When you accelerate a broken process, you don't get an improved result. You get a bigger, more expensive, and more spectacular failure. All happening at the speed of light. You have created a chaos machine and the countdown to explosion has already begun. That is why your team needs a golden path. And by golden path, I simply mean the agreed, supported way your team assesses their current problems and turns an approved idea into a tested, reviewed, working change or solution. It tells people what belongs where, how it fits in, which patterns the team already supports, which decision they can make themselves, and which decision needs wider technical review or planning. Without that part, every AI-assisted task can become a small architecture project. Imagine a team building a new customer notification feature. One developer asks an AI agent to implement it using the existing background job system. Another introduces a new queue because the agent says it will scale better. A third maybe puts similar behavior directly inside an API request because that is the fastest way to finish the task. Each change might work. Each pull request might even pass the test. But now the company has 3 different ways to solve the same problem or maybe a very unscalable solution. This is something people need to understand and pay more attention to. The individual AI-generated code can look reasonable while the wider system becomes harder to maintain. The agent does not automatically know what future goals the company has. It does not know which complexity the team is willing to own or which pattern your company wants to maintain for the next 5 years. And it does not know why an older technical decision still matters unless you give it that context. So the output looks productive, but underneath that output, the system is slowly becoming harder to maintain or explain. And this is where the talent problem begins. When leadership doesn't provide a clear plan, it creates a vacuum that fills up with fear and frustration. And probably the most damaging result of this lack of clarity and having no real AI strategy is what it does to your people. The talent drain it causes is massive. On one side, you have your anxious employees. They hear about AI and worry about their jobs, with no clear message about how AI will help them. They resist using it, quietly undermine pilot programs, or just disengage completely. They see AI as a threat, not a tool. But the other side is even more dangerous. It's more dangerous for the business. Your best people, the innovators, the top performers, the ones you can't afford to lose, they see the chaos and they get fed up. They want to use these new tools, but they are stuck with bad data, no clear direction, no defined hierarchy, and no safe way to experiment. They see inexperienced team members with a ChatGPT account making major design decisions without any oversight and doing all of that in silos. They also watch competitors move forward with a clear plan while their own company wastes time on disconnected projects that go nowhere. So they do the logical thing. They update their resumes and find a company that actually knows what it's doing. It is a real brain drain. You don't just lose your staff, you lose the very people who could have helped you build the future. This talent drain does not begin when your best engineers start to resign. It begins much earlier when their judgment is consistently requested after the code has already been generated and the important decisions have already entered into the code base. When you keep doing that, you create the conditions for your best technical people to disengage and leave. Imagine a senior engineer opens a pull request and finds dozens of changed files, a new abstraction, a new dependency, and several system decisions nobody discussed in such PLs. It becomes difficult because now they are no longer reviewing just one implementation. They are trying to reconstruct all the assumptions hidden inside the code AI generated. Why was this pattern introduced? Was the existing approach considered? Is this technology a good fit for the problem? Does the change belong in this service? What happens when it fails? Who is going to maintain it? The senior engineer becomes a cleanup crew at best and works in that cleanup capacity for decisions they should have helped shape before implementation began. That is what I mean by judgment drain. Over time, your strongest engineers either stop challenging every questionable decision because the cleanup never ends, or they start looking for a team that uses their judgment before the code is written. That is how judgment drain can eventually become talent drain. And I want to be clear, the problem is not junior or less experienced engineers using AI. AI can help them learn, explore ideas, and implement useful work much faster. The problem here is leadership allowing access to the tools to become permission to make system-level decisions without the right context, without the right review or system design approval. So for leadership to take charge of the narrative, it definitely requires a big shift in thinking. From chasing shiny new tools to building a solid foundation and building the ability to innovate safely and effectively. And most importantly, to stop the free-for-all approach and start defining engineering directions earlier. and also hiring engineers that have the golden skill of asking the right questions. If your company has not defined what an engineer can decide, what the AI can decide, and what requires senior review, then the tool will blur those boundaries very quickly. So what should leadership do? Like I said, it's all about early engineering direction, and I think it needs these 3 layers. The first layer is the product and system spine. Before breaking work into AI tasks, the team needs to understand what it is actually building. They need to ask the right questions. Who is this for? What is the smallest complete user journey? Which system owns each responsibility? What are the security, data reliability, and product rules we cannot casually change or paper over? What does the system look like as a whole? And do we have a proper visual understanding in our head, or physically written, a physical system architectural diagram of the system as a whole? Even an MVP needs a spine. An MVP is not a loose collection of features that happen to work independently. There should be one clear path through the product and one understandable design holding that path together. That direction needs to come before generation. The second layer is the golden path itself. Instead of letting every team pick their own AI tools, what they use it on, and how they use it, you need to create what engineers call a golden path. Think of it as the paved road for using AI at your company to build or make changes safely. The team makes this path very clear, safe, and efficient enough that doing the right thing is also the easiest thing, or the easiest way to get work done. This isn't about limiting creativity or slowing people down. It's about guiding it and designing the foundation of the system you are building. And this does not need to be a massive internal platform or 100-page engineering handbook. For a small team, it might be a short document, a few good examples, and a consistent task template, or a well pre-designed system architectural diagram. A good golden path has your security rules, compliance needs, and data policies already built into it. It makes doing the right thing the path of least resistance. It lets your developers and data scientists focus on creating value, not on trying to reinvent the infrastructure for every single project. A useful task should explain the intended outcome, relevant context, system boundary, existing patterns, constraints, acceptance checks, and who owns the final decision, which should be a human, of course. It should also tell the agent which existing patterns to follow, which boundaries it must not exceed without approval. The authority boundary should be explicit. The AI may propose an implementation. The task owner decides within the approved boundary. We should also have a named senior engineer that reviews changes to architecture, data ownership, security posture, or a new infrastructure dependency. The AI can still explore inside that box. It just should not quietly make the box larger. Without a golden path, you are choosing chaos. But by defining one, you provide the clear standard runway you need to use AI responsibly. The third layer is decision memory. As the team builds, new questions will appear. Some original assumptions will be wrong. Exceptions will sometimes be necessary. When that happens, record what was decided, why it was decided, which alternatives were considered, and when the decision should be revisited. That is not documentation for the sake of documentation. It prevents the next engineer or the next AI agent from reopening a settled question without understanding while the current system exists. And this is important. A golden path is not a prison. Good engineers should still be able to challenge it with the right questions. If a different approach is genuinely better, propose the exception, review it deliberately, of course, with the right people, and update the supported path when necessary. The goal is not to stop new ideas. The goal is to stop accidental architecture. So if you are a CTO, engineering leader, or technical founder pushing your team to adopt AI, do not only ask how quickly they are producing code, ask whether the team still knows who has the authority to make engineering decisions and what are the questions being asked for those decisions to be made. Ask whether your senior engineers are shaping the work before generation or they are cleaning it up afterwards. Ask whether two engineers given the same kind of task would follow roughly the same supported path. This is an important system to build into your workflow as tech leads. However, I'm not saying this system will eliminate bad decisions, nor does it remove the need for human review. But it makes the decisions deliberate, makes them visible and less prone to accidental architecture that would be difficult to detect at the rate of production of code by AI. We all know AI increases your team's rate of output. So leadership now has to increase its rate of communicating clarity and the rules of the game. You can't delegate the creation of a responsible culture. Leaders have to step up and clearly define the rules for using AI in the company. This means being clear about your risk tolerance, what kind of AI projects are you okay with now, and which ones are too risky and need to wait. You have to communicate this so teams aren't left guessing. It also means establishing absolute clarity on who is accountable. If an employee starts an idea with AI that doesn't take the team forward towards its goals, or an AI makes a mistake that costs the company millions or damages its reputation, who is responsible? The developer? The team leader? Is it the manager who approved it? Is it the vendor who sold you the model? If you don't have a clear answer, you are definitely not ready to use AI in a serious way. We are at a turning point. The idea that AI is a simple plug-and-play solution is not just wrong, it's dangerous. AI is a powerful amplifier, but when left on its own, it will amplify your company's chaos. Your disconnected systems and your lack of a clear strategy will be amplified. It will help your organizations fail faster and more spectacularly than ever before. But if you give it direction, build it on a solid platform, and surround it with smart rules, it will amplify your strengths. It will accelerate your strategy, empower your best people, and unlock a level of innovation you can't even imagine yet. Before your team gives an AI agent its next implementation task, draw out the architecture and system design and write down the path agent is allowed to follow. If you cannot describe that path, the task is not ready for the AI agent. And once that path exists, the next challenge is making sure the team and the agent remembers why it exists. That is where a decision log comes in. And that is what I will break down in a follow-up video. Like and subscribe if you agree with me and would like to be notified when I drop the next video, and I'll see you in the next one.